We are joined by our sports director, Jeff Hathorn, and he is brought to us by Gutter Helmet. Beat the fall rush. Get 35% off Gutter Helmet. Visit gutterhelmet.com or call 888-5HELMET. Good morning to you, Jeff. How you doing today?
Morning, guys. You know, there are times I hear Schefter's voice and I think, is that just Caliendo?
Right.
We did have Caliendo in here about a month and a half ago, and he did his Schefter, and it's uncanny. Oh, it's so good.
What if he did one and said he's definitely going to the Steelers, did this whole thing and just threw it out there? How many people would think it was Schefter?
We should call him. It would not be good for the audience, but I think our stream numbers would pop, and we know how much Craig Riley loves that. Jeff, are you hearing anything new at this point on Brandon Aiyuk and what maybe the Niners might have been interested in with the Steelers here?
So here's what I could tell you that I know is that obviously the Steelers are interested, and there have been ongoing discussions with the camp. But they're also not going to give up the world for Brandon Aiyuk. Are they going to give up what they feel is a fair compensation? Yes. And there's a lot of tentacles to this because, like, if he wants $30 million, all right, do you give him more potentially than T.J. Watt? What are you willing to give up in a trade? Do you, let's say the season goes south, you don't have a quarterback for next year. I know a first-round pick is going to be part of that compensation. Do you overpay with more draft picks? Like, there's so much that goes into this talk. It's not just, hey, everybody'd like to add Brandon Aiyuk. And then you have, obviously, what did the Patriots and Browns offer that the Steelers just weren't willing to match? Opportunity to win the AFC.
What do you think the Steelers would be willing to part with? Would it be rostered players? Would they have to overpay in draft capital? And when does it become a bridge too far?
Well, I think first-round pick is definitely I think that's, from everything you see, that's a given. You know, I haven't seen a trade request or trade scenario where that hasn't been involved. It's just, okay, what's the level of player you can give up now? I've seen James Daniels. Man, you'd hate to give up that inconsistent guard. But if you feel like Herbig could slide over there or, you know,
McCormick,
put Spencer Anderson over there, could you survive with that to be able to get a number 2 receiver? But I think that's the type of player you're looking at giving up. I'm not buying as much into the Highsmith. I realize that, you know, you do have somebody behind potentially in Herbig that could be a really good player, but I think that's the level of player. Here's the thing. It's, you know, if San Francisco wants a receiver in return, I don't think they're going to pick any of the ones from the Steelers except the one that there's no way you're going to trade.
Jeff, like, for everything that's come out, and Crowley too, I mean, like, it just seems that he wants to go to the Steelers because he knows that they could be good, right? Like, he doesn't want to go to the Browns. I don't know why. Even though the Browns maybe even pay more money, he doesn't want to go to the Patriots because, you know, they're a young team and they have a new coach. But it seems like he wants to go to the Steelers. I don't think it's because that the Steelers are going to pay him a significant amount of more money than the San Francisco 49ers. I think he thinks the Steelers are legit. And that's kind of where I'm sitting at, is like, they're that close. And why would he want to go to the Steelers other than him thinking that they could be pretty good this year?
Yeah, I mean, and he does kind of, and as Schefter pointed out there, he does kind of control. It's almost like a hockey trade where there's only a couple of teams that he will go to because you have to sign him. You have to have that deal if you're making that trade, because you can't trade the capital you're going to give up and just get, you know, what they're going to have in return. What San Francisco has a little bit of leverage in is like, all right, but if you're only going to give us this, we're not going to trade you at all. I mean, it's we'll see if Cleveland can convince him. I am sure Robert Kraft is giving up the world because he wants to make a splash. He wants to show that they're still a relevant team. And if we get Aiyuk, you know, I think the ego comes into play there, and I'm sure that offer is generous. You know, they could also be putting pressure on there to, hey, give us one more thing, Pittsburgh, and we'll put you back into this mix. Nothing is done yet, but I mean, I could see. Listen, Cleveland's a good team. Let's not downplay the fact that they've got a good team. Can Deshaun Watson convince him that, man, let's go up here, we could do something special, and this town will go crazy for you?
Do you think the Steelers I mean, it sounds like you do, are still in this, because the latest reporting is that Washington's out, but the verbiage from that NBC Bay Area report was different on the Steelers. What he wrote there, Matt Mayoko did, was that the Steelers declined to meet the 49ers trade demands, but he didn't say they're totally out.
Yeah, I think what we've seen from Omar Khan is that he doesn't overreact. Like, he doesn't let emotion come into these negotiations. So they remain in, I do believe they remain in conversations, and they're monitoring the situation. They're going to continue to have talks and try to find a way to get a deal done. But I don't think they're going to go crazy in their minds, whatever crazy is, to get a receiver even as impactful as he could be.
Do you think that the Steelers have not inked Freiermuth or Cam Hayward to this point because of this Ayuk situation?
Maybe, but they have so much salary cap room next year that I don't think that's a deal stopper for any of it. It would just be a matter of structuring. So, yeah, to your point, they could have deals in place with both of those guys, and they want to see this thing end so they know exactly how they work the deal for this year. But that's another thing that's working well for the Steelers. Like, their salary cap, and I realize they're going to have to get a quarterback, and there's some needs, but their salary cap room I don't remember a year where they go into next year having this type of flexibility and knowing they've got so many key positions already signed to low contracts, especially across that offensive line.
Jeff, let's narrow in directly to what the Steelers are doing right now. Do we see Russell Wilson on Friday in their first preseason game?
No. He hasn't even done a real team period yet. He's not gonna be out there. What's intriguing is I'm not sure exactly how much Fields is going to be out there, because it's not a typical number one quarterback situation. You may want to take a few more looks at him, because really, beyond Fields, I mean, Allen's career is a backup, and then Plumlee's not a guy who really factors in. So you probably see Fields in a few more reps, and then Adam promises he's not going to overreact to anything he sees then on Friday.
Yeah, I've said that, but I am primed and ready to overreact, baby. At least there'll be a couple of days for me to take a couple of cold showers before we react to it on Monday. All right, last thing here for you, Jeff. You've been down there the whole time at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. Wide receiver position right now, without Brandon Ayuk, as you move closer and closer to the season, how should they feel about it?
Well, I mean, be prepared to see a lot of Van Jefferson as it stands right now. I think he's kind of put himself in a position to be a 2. We see other guys make plays. It hasn't been a big count so far for Calvin Austin, which makes Friday a huge opportunity for him to be able to show, once again, in these type of settings, what he might be able to do. But really, Van, he's got some size. He's made a few big plays, had a nice one-handed catch and 7 shots the other day. Yeah, that's kind of what you're looking at that receiver core, which again speaks to the reason why the Steelers are still in these negotiations for Brandon Ayuk. They're still looking for an upgrade in that spot, more so than at any other position that they have.
Do you hear that, John Lynch? Van Jefferson's been very good. He's been very good. Take Van Jefferson.
He looked great.
Oh, he's so good, this Van Jefferson. He would look outstanding in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Jeff, this was very good. It has been our pleasure. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks,
All
Jeff.
right. Jeff Hathorn. Oh, man.